Welcome to another Driver4Driver podcast. I'm Francis Ham. You can see I'm flying solo today. Usually I'd have Ken Cox with me and Kenny Kuntz. Ken right now is out at the Truck Driving Championships. Jake is out there representing Giltner and doing his road tests and whatnot. And Arnell, do you have some footage of that you can put into the podcast as well?
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of footage, and I don't know what's going on here. Maybe you can try to tell the viewers here. What's the deal with, like, for example, like this duck? Like, what is that about?
Sure. So the thing about going to the championships, you don't get to drive your truck. You know, it's a piece of equipment that they pull in, a tractor that nobody has driven, a trailer that nobody has pulled. So the length, the bridge, the length of the trailer where the axles are put at, that's where they're at. And that's what you have to work with. So you've got an obstacle course that you're driving through, and the duck is one of the obstacles that you've got to get around without hitting the duck, is really what it is. And everybody runs that same course, and you get judged by how you perform on the course.
Yeah, and I saw that they have all these like little lane markers. Are they watching like where your tires are hitting or something?
Exactly. Sometimes they'll do a dock scenario where you have to back up just so far, where you've got to imagine the back of your trailer where it's at, and then stop, and then they'll measure the distance, from where you stop to where the marker's at. They'll do some different things. They're all different, so they'll cover it with the drivers when they show to do the competition, and then they'll just run through it. So it's pretty challenging. It's a tough course. It's nothing easy. They stretch it.
And how did Jake get to the nationals? What did he have to do, I guess?
Well, first of all, Jake's a great driver. He's got many years of doing it. And then he went through and competed in Idaho, and then won in Idaho, and now he's on to the nationals.
Nice.
It's great.
And this happens every year, right?
Yes, it does.
And typically you have to have like a good record or something like that, right? To
Absolutely.
participate. So it's usually the best drivers.
Yep, absolutely. Let's cue the montage. This is how the experience looks like.
Be sure to tune into the next episode to see how the event went.
So that's where Ken's at.
Yeah, that's right. That's where Ken's at. And Kenny's out on vacation right now. Much needed vacation,
Oh, yeah. Can we just imagine where he's at right now?
He's out enjoying the coast of Oregon.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome.
Him and his family. So that's great. For the podcast today, I wanted to talk a little bit. We've been talking about safety things. Pulling mountains, going down hills, changing of the weather. We talked about that in the spring. the thing I want to talk about today is really the cost. There's a lot of cost associated anytime there's an incident. And that cost comes back and affects our owner-operators, So safety, we all know safety is a high priority. But really, when you're out there and you're running down the road, anything that happens, it seems like comes back and costs the driver money. Whether it's a blown tire or an incident that something could happen and cause downtime to where now you can't run, you can't get the miles down, and that really affects you. And then if there is an incident that relates to either vehicle damage or product damage, then that comes back. It creates an accident or a claim on the cargo, and at the end of the day, it always comes back and hits the driver's pocket.
Maybe what would be interesting is like walk me down through like the process of what happens when like somebody breaks down. Like what are their steps? What do they got to do, I guess?
Sure. So it depends on what the breakdown is. If it's a truck breakdown or a trailer breakdown. The first thing we want to do is we want to get a hold of our operations. Reach out to your driver manager. That'd be the first thing you want to do and report what's going on. And then from there, we'll have to determine, okay, what do we do at that point? Do we have to repower and put another power unit under the trailer? Or is it maybe a reefer unit where we've got to get you into a repair facility, a Thermo King or Carrier or somebody to get that unit looked at? And then if we do have to repower, then it's a matter of getting tow trucks set up to pull a truck out of the way, and put another truck underneath there. So it depends on what it is, but I think the most important thing is reaching out to dispatch first, to your driver manager. At that point, we'll determine working with the shop, what can we do to help resolve the issue, but we're also going to reach out to the customer to let the customer know what's going on. Is it going to cause a delay in delivery? Do we have to reschedule the delivery? At least let them know what's happening at the point with the load.
And what about insurance? Like, what does insurance do when something goes down like that?
Well, the trucks we're running all have extended warranties. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times it'll be under warranty, and that's good as far as cost for the repair. However, the downtime that comes with it, that's a tough one, because if a driver's down, they're not running any miles, no revenue. So it's that's where it comes back to your pre-trips, post-trips, things of that nature. Try to make sure that if there's anything minor that we can catch in a pre-trip or a post-trip, we want to get it fixed before it breaks down on the road. Inevitably, if you're running down the road and your transmission goes out or something that's beyond your control, at that point, we'll have to get that thing into the shop, and then we try to work with our owner-operators, company drivers, and get them into another unit, get them going.
Nice. So this is why you guys keep on saying, like, look at those tires,
That's exactly right.
Check those tires, because they could probably just escalate from there. Just one thing blows up can damage another thing, I would assume.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely right. So we said changing of the seasons. We're quickly narrowing the end of August. September's coming, and there's already some chill in the air on the northern states. So I think this weekend they were even calling for in the 60s here in Twin Falls, for a high temperature. I think it's gone up a little bit since then. So with the changing of the season comes other things we need to do with our equipment, and not only for the driver's needs, but for the equipment. So chains, we're going to have to start thinking about tire chains. If you don't have tire chains on, let's make sure that we start thinking about getting those, maybe taking a look at them, make sure they're in good shape and whatnot. So when you do need to put them on the truck, you'll have them with you. And then the driver should have a bag of some kind, or at least in his truck, some blankets, some things to keep you warm, extra socks, extra shoes, things of that nature.
Do you ever recall a story where you were stuck in some crazy weather storm or anything like that?
Absolutely. I've had plenty of opportunities where I was stuck myself. Running across Wyoming, I had been shut down before for 2.5 days. and you just couldn't move. You were in a truck stop. Living out of a truck stop, that was pretty tough. I know in Colorado, back when I was running over I-70 quite a bit, I'd have to take some back roads because the interstate would get shut down. Eisenhower would get shut down. You couldn't get through there. So a lot of times we'd drop down south and try to go around the south side. And I made it down to Gunnison one time and was sitting in Gunnison for 3 days. And the only thing that was there was a 7-Eleven. That was the only store there. So I was eating out of a 7-Eleven for 3 days. It was tough.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And what happens, like, I always see these trucks at truck stops. I was always kind of wondering, is there some kind of like, do you have to pay to be parked there itself? Or how does that work? Like, because like I was assuming like I don't know if you can just like leave your truck at these truck stops or something like that. That was always kind of something that I was kind of thinking. Were you getting charged while you were being out there as well too?
Yeah, that's transitioned quite a bit. Back when I was driving, there was no charges for a truck stop at all. Now there's truck stops and you can reserve a parking spot to where when you get there you'll have a spot. Other truck stops will charge you from the time you get there. Once you get into a spot, you get charged for that. There is some Wi-Fi accesses and things of that nature that some truck stops charge for, others don't. But yeah, if it's one of those things. If there's a way that they can make money on charging, they're going to charge you for it. And that's it's a tough one.
Yeah, I never knew that. I was like always kind of wondered about that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. That's changed more recently. I'd say probably within the last 5 years. Our professional drivers would know better, but just from the information that I'm getting from it, it was just really within the last 5 years that people are starting to charge for that.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of like people on the internet kind of saying that our truck drivers are like, it's hard to find a parking spot.
Absolutely. And a lot of places we go to, they won't let you idle your truck. So you'll have to leave the city or whatever, get out to where you can idle your truck.
You see, I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and in summertime, you're wanting to idle that truck to get some cool air so you can rest. And then in the wintertime, you want to have some heat. So
yeah, interesting. Well, what else do you have for us? What else can drivers do to try to prevent any kind of like crazy maintenance bill itself that might cost them thousands of dollars, I guess?
You bet. The cost aspect of the truck, the trailer, the repairs, cargo claims, incidents, all that stuff adds up. Trucks today, when you look at a cost of a power unit, or if you look at the cost of a trailer, it's significantly higher than what it was just 2 years ago. Repairs have done the same thing. We talk about everywhere you go, it seems like everybody's shorthanded. Everybody's hiring help. Shops are the same way. They're all shorthanded. So whenever there is a breakdown and a piece of equipment goes into the shop, not only are the repairs extremely high, expensive on getting things repaired, but the downtime that goes with it. Sometimes a person thinks, well, I could get that fixed here within just a few hours or maybe a day, and it ends up being 3 days or a week to get it fixed. And then parts availability, that's still a problem. Parts are not on the shelf. They're not available. So anything that you can prevent ahead of time and get a part ordered or whatever and get it repaired or replaced prior to a downtime, significantly better than if it goes down on the road and you got to find it out on the road. That could be tough.
Yeah, I would. I feel like even on regular car trips, sometimes something breaks and you're like, I need to find a place to fix this, and it becomes very, very hard.
You bet. And our drivers, they deal with this all the time. But if let's say you were pulling a load and your truck broke down, and somebody had to come recover that, they may end up having to bring a trailer and drop it and take your trailer, go deliver your load, and then they may take that trailer and keep it. And when your truck gets repaired, then you'll have their trailer. But where did they drop it at to come get it? So there's kind of a hassle there too. Once everything gets fixed, to get it put back together again and then get you a load, because we don't know exactly when it's going to be repaired. We try communicating, with our professional drivers in the shops on trying to get the equipment out and trying to plan on, hey, what day is it going to come out? What time is it going to come out? So we can try to arrange for a load there too. So there's a lot that goes into that stuff, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's the driver who's out the revenue for that time when it's down because they just can't run.
Yeah. And I think I feel like people probably feel like, you're just hoping nothing happens to you, but eventually something does happen and it's kind of out of your control. You just can't predict when like a car or truck is going to have any kind of problems because at the end of the day, it's just wear and tear. Those parts are going to, start having issues. It's just a matter of time, I feel like.
Yeah, no, and I think we understand that. We as a company, we understand when something happens like that, it's very important, So the shop gets right on it right away. Our driver managers, our planners, everybody's working on, hey, do you have a load when you break down? What's going on there? Let's do what we have to do to get that delivered. And then what do we have to do when you are repaired and you're coming back out? Try to get you back on a load right away and get you going. That way you can get that revenue going again.
Yeah, it's all about keeping the drivers making revenue, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's tough enough when you break down and you're out on the road and you're spending money, just in meals and everything else. And you're not making anything. So getting turned around and getting back on the profit side, it's the utmost importance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
You bet. Any other questions for me, Arnell?
No, that's very informative. Yeah, I learned something a little bit today. You know,
bet.
So.
You bet. Well, I know it'll be good to have Ken Cox back, and I hope Jake. I hope you do a great job out there. I know it's definitely a tough course, but you're the person that's there to make it happen, and you can make it happen. And it'd be good to have Kenny back in here again as well. He needs time off. It's good that he's gone and having some time off. And we'll get the team back together here. As far as our drivers out there, I want to thank you guys for everything that you're doing. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't be here. We couldn't do these podcasts. And just want to appreciate and thank you for everything you do.